Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back, baby. That's right. I'm your host, Gav. And this is episode 26 of the One More Round live chat. Baby. It is Sunday, February 16th. And we're here, baby. We're here. Got some big show for you guys. Fat slate. Nice little this week's wins. I even got a fighter spotlight. So we got a lot to get through. That's why I started at 11 a.m. today. Tanner in the house. Tanner says, whoa. What's good? Man, that rip got me. I ain't gonna lie to you. That rip got me. It got my soul. Got my soul. As you guys already know, please follow the socials. If you know me from the main card minute or one more round, possibly from Morning Combat. But follow the channels. Scan the QR codes below. Left side, main card minute. That's where we do the full card watch-alongs on Saturdays for the UFC numbered events, and the main card watch-alongs on Saturdays for the fight nights. We just did one on Saturday, massively successful. The chat freaking won, thanks to me and Luke. You're welcome if you made money. But yeah. And one more round fights on your right. If you want to get some breakdowns, if you want to get some news, if you want to get some fat parlays and picks, because I gave out some gold. Only one of my picks didn't hit this weekend, so I gave out some gold. Hope you guys tailed. Also follow on social, YouTube, One More Round Fights, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, One More Round Fights. But on X, it is One More Round F8. They have a character restriction. Fuck you, X. Fuck you, Twitter. Fuck you, Elon. Anyways, shout out to the email. Please send your wins into onemoreroundfights@gmail.com. I actually didn't look this week. So if you did send in wins for once, I actually didn't look. But one more round fights at gmail.com. You know why? Because that's where I can show you off to the world and show our money off in this week's wins, because we're fucking killing it. We absolutely killed it this past weekend. Absolutely murdered it. Shout out to our sponsor, W.GG. Use promo code One More Round for 10% off. That is promo code One More Round for 10% off. Tinctures, products, powders, wellness, health, all that. Go to W.GG. And without further ado, we got MMA to go over. We have boxing to go over. Let's start off with MMA. Topic number 1. Jared Cannonier TKOs Gregory Rodrigues. Round cuatro. Punches. My man Jared Cannonier is an inspiration to all of us. Jared Cannonier is 41 years of age. He's 40, about to be 41. March 16th is his birthday, exactly 1 month from today. He'll be turning 41. The killer gorilla at 5'11", having fought at middleweight, having fought at light heavyweight, having fought at heavyweight, having a win in all 3 weight classes in the UFC. Jared Cannonier is a problem. Jared Cannonier is a picture of resilience. And I think he deserves a really good fight after this. Now, Gregory Rodrigues got a huge step up in this fight. Mind you, he's not even ranked at middleweight. Gregory Rodrigues has never even sniffed the top 15 and somehow got a fight against the number 7 in the division. I don't know how this happened either. I don't even know how I missed this up until now. This was kind of weird to me. And they also had Gregory Rodrigues as a minus 200 favorite, almost minus 300 favorite over Jared Cannonier. I mean, the disrespect is absolutely crazy. But moving past that, Jared Cannonier had a little trouble in round 1. He got dropped. I think it was twice. He got dropped twice in round 1. He got put down with a left straight flash drop. It was a glancing blow that took him off balance, probably took away his equilibrium. And then the second one, I believe, was a hook on the very same side, also dropping him to his butt. Actually, the second one might have been to a knee. The first one was definitely to his butt. But Jared Cannonier comes back in this round 2 and starts building a foundation for himself, starts using his jabs, starts extreme swaying. Normally, you're not supposed to do that, especially in MMA, because a head kick can come up. But Gregory Rodrigues not throwing a lot of head kicks, mainly boxing. RoboCop very robotic in his movements. So Jared Cannonier kind of figured out that his normal sway of side to side wasn't working. He had to go a little more extreme. And that was working for him in round 2 because he was getting out of the way of RoboCop's punches. He was landing a lot of shots of his own and pushing RoboCop back into the fence. And at that time, he was getting a lot of clinch work done. He was doing a lot of good work and honestly building a lot of a good start to what we thought was going to be a decision win. But Gregory Rodrigues comes back in round 3 and starts landing big shots. I think he finds out that this extreme movement, he just had to adjust a little bit more to land on Jared Cannonier. He wasn't landing as much, but he was still landing. They were landing at about an equal tip, but Gregory Rodrigues was definitely landing the harder shots of the two and landing more damage because you could see it visibly on Cannonier's face. But at the end of round 3, Cannonier was landing shots. He had a cut underneath Gregory Rodrigues's left eye, I believe, and it started bleeding pretty badly. And Gregory Rodrigues was tiring out pretty badly because at the end of round 3, Jared Cannonier catches him with a nice right elbow out of the clinch, drops him, gets on top, starts landing shots. Referee almost has to stand in and stop it, but time runs out. Round 4 starts. Jared Cannonier puts his foot on the motherfucking gas. That motherfucker came out, started landing punches right away, started putting some pop behind him, put Gregory Rodrigues up against the fence, drops him to his back, hops into full mount, stands over him, starts landing punches. Referee has to call it. Jared Cannonier, round 4, TKO. 21 seconds. That is all he needed in round 4. That's how he knew. He knew at the end of round 3, he had him. He jumped on him at the beginning of round 4. 21 seconds is all he needed to end the fight. Jared Cannonier, what a huge win. I'm excited to see what they do with him next. I mean, he lost to 2 streaking guys. He lost to Imavov. He lost to Caio Borralho. Both of those guys in the top 5 in a position to do very well for themselves. Now, well, actually, Caio Borralho sitting at 6, but Imavov sitting at number 1. Cannonier at 7 defended his position. I don't think he goes down. I don't think he goes up. But I think he gets to avenge a loss or get a young up-and-comer after this. So these are the 2 options I see for Jared Cannonier. I see Caio Borralho because Caio has really wanted to fight with Izzy, but Izzy's going to take the time off. And the next best thing for him would be Jared Cannonier. He could be fighting above him, but unfortunately with the circumstances and how this division is laying out right now, Chimaev should be fighting for the title. Imavov will not be fighting below him. Strickland may take a little time off and Caio trains with Strickland, so that wouldn't be a great fight to make. Izzy's taking time off, so I think Jared Cannonier should fight Caio Borralho, or he should rematch Robert Whittaker and try to get one back. I think those are the 2 fights for Jared Cannonier, and those are the 2 fights that make the most sense right now. So those are the only things I can see happening next. As for Rodrigues, I don't even know how he got a top 15 in the first place. I don't even know how he got this fight. Who's his management? Because I need to get that management. His management is doing top-level work. That is crazy work for him to get that fight. Jared Cannonier, number 7, not even a top 15. He's getting a top 10. Diabolical work from that agent. Gotta love it. I mean, Gregory Rodrigues, his last win was Christian Leroy Duncan, and before that, Brad Tavares. And before that, Dennis Tiululin. And before that, Chitty Bang. And Julian Marquez. No, none of these guys are top 15 guys. So how he got this top 15 spot, I'll never know. This top 10 spot, I should say. I'll never know. He shouldn't even get a top 15 after this. Give him a fringe 15. I don't know. Just that was a big jump. That was wild to me. I don't know what we do with him next, but that was wild to me. And that's all I got to say about that fight. Lazy in the house. He says, let's go, big fella. Let's go. Dirty Reg 22 said, Dirty Reg. Props to Cannonier, but damn it, RoboCop dropped the ball. Yeah, he was landing big shots, man. He was landing big shots on Cannonier. He dropped him twice. He had him cut. He was doing great work, but Cannonier used that veteran savvy, and his last 5 fights were 5-round fights. And the 6th one, he made sure he used that savvy in round 4 and put it on him right away. That's what we got. Dirty Ray also says all that and RoboCop should have still won last night. Yeah, honestly, if he just put a little bit more on him in round 1, he probably could have got him out of there in round 1. If he jumped on him quicker when he got him to the ground, he kind of just stood over him and waited for him to get back up. If he had more urgency in round 1, he definitely could have. He definitely could have. But Jared Cannonier, 40 years of age, gets the job done. Moving on. Topic number 2, Yusuf Zalal defeats Calvin Kattar by unanimous decision. Now, there's 2 schools of people in this fight. There's the school of people that say Calvin Kattar didn't do enough, and why did he turn the gas pedal only on in round 3? And then there's the people that say, why was Yusuf Zalal running around when he clearly had an advantage and Calvin Kattar was putting himself in a spot to get finished? I would say I'm in the latter school of thought there. I think Yusuf Zalal had a great performance. Round 1, did a lot of good work, freezing Calvin Kattar, not letting Calvin Kattar get his good boxing off. His movement was great. Calvin Kattar's movement was great. He was cutting off Yusuf Zalal at every turn. The problem was he wasn't letting his hands go. And that was his problem in round 1 and his same problem in round 2. Round 1 and 2 are basically identical. The same thing happened. But round 3, Calvin Kattar put his foot on the gas. He was throwing big rights. He was throwing big overhands. He was landing leg kicks on Yusuf Zalal. He was checking leg kicks from Yusuf Zalal. And he was making Yusuf Zalal run and evade all his punches. And a lot of his punches were landing, though it was on the shoulder, the body, glancing shots to the head. He was still landing a lot of shots on Zalal in that round 3. But there's guys that say Yusuf Zalal was looking so good he didn't want to risk it in that round 3, and I'm one of those guys. But there's also guys like Dana White who are going to be like, why is this guy running away in round 3? And also, this is a case against open scoring because you would see a lot of this happening if open scoring was a thing in MMA. It kind of is already. If a guy knows he's up 2-0, they don't really go for it as much anymore. And that's what we saw in the Yusuf Zalal fight. But can you blame him? The kid is on a streak, the best streak of his life after getting booted from the UFC. Can you blame him for doing all he can to keep his win streak going, to keep his chance at a title going? I think he now has the longest win streak at featherweight besides the champ. So hating on Yusuf Zalal is going to get you nowhere because he is now a bona fide contender at featherweight. And that's that. Now, Calvin Kattar did what Calvin Kattar does. He lost a close fight. Calvin Kattar tends to win fights that he is the bully in, that he can push you back, that he can be the bigger guy and land his strikes in. Jeremy Stevens, Dan Ige, Giga Chikadze. But guys that like to play the matador, circle, 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 land your shot, circle, 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 threaten a takedown, circle, circle, circle. Guys like Josh Emmett, guys like Max Holloway, guys like Arnold Allen, guys that'll get the takedown and keep you there like Aljamain Sterling, those guys are going to beat Calvin Kattar. That's why I saw Yusuf Zalal running away with this fight, and that's what he did. So I don't blame Yusuf Zalal for running in that 3rd round. Now, he definitely could have stood there and fought a little more. I do have a little points on that. Definitely could have at least landed a strike on the exit, landed a little dip punch on the exit instead of just fully turning his back and running a few times. But we've seen it many times before, and we shouldn't blame him for it. He's just a product of previous MMA. And I'm glad he got the win because he deserved to get the win. He was the better fighter. He landed the better shots. He landed all the damage in the fight. and he deserved to win the fight. So shout out to Yusuf Zalal. Now, Yusuf Zalal deserves a good fight after this. And boy, do I have a couple for him. He's getting a number above him. He's getting a number above Kattar because he's going to take Kattar's spot. Guess where Kattar's chilling at? Yeah. Kattar's chilling at number 10. Welcome to the top 15, Yusuf Zalal. Now, I don't know if he's going to take the 10 spot, but he's definitely going to get into that top 15. Now, I think the next two options for him are either Arnold Allen or Giga Chikadze. Those are the two best fights for him. Now, Giga, top 15 guy, also a great striker. Can Yusuf Zalal implement his wrestling and his grappling against him? That's another good test. And the same question goes for Arnold Allen, a little bit tougher type of test, but the same type of test. So I'd love to see both of those fights for him. Now, as for Kattar, he's got to get an up-and-comer coming into the top 15. He's got to get a Mario Bautista at 35 type. I know Mario Bautista is a bantamweight. I'm just saying that type of fighter, you know? Now, he could also get a rematch against Dan Ige. Wouldn't you love to see that? That's a fun fight. I'd like to see that. Gets to defend his top 10, top 15 spot against a fellow top 15er. Always a fun fight, always a banger. That could headline a fight night. And it would be fun for 5 rounds. I think the first fight was a 3-rounder, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, no, the first fight was a 5-rounder in Abu Dhabi. Let's give Dan Ige a second chance. Let's give Dan Ige a second chance. Let's give a 5-round fight in the States this time. Let's have these guys fight in Vegas or have them fight in Boston, somebody's hometown. Let's give Kattar the hometown advantage. Let's give New England Cartel a good leg up in 2025 because I think they've started 0-2. And if Rob Font doesn't pick up a win next weekend, they'll start off 0-3. So yeah, that's not cool. Let's get to these comments. Dirty Rag 22 says Zalal was better at the game. In a 5-round fight, Zalal would have been cooked. I agree. If that was a 5-round fight, Calvin Kattar wins that. Calvin Kattar was coming on. But also, you got to think, was Zalal playing the I already won 2 rounds, I'm running away now fight? Would he have stood and fought in a round 3, then won that round, and then ran away for 2 rounds in round 4 and 5? We don't know. But I'd love to see that in the future if both of them stay around each other in orbit in that division. So we'll see. Lazy Bed says, that's exactly what I said. Zalal fought how opponents of open scoring think guys will fight. Yep. Yeah. So that people that don't like open scoring, they'll think that a lot of fights look like that. Now, it's going to look like that regardless. If a guy thinks he's up, he's going to protect his lead. That's just how all sports are played. That's why so many leads are blown in the NBA. That's why so many leads are blown in the NFL. That's why so many leads are blown in the MLB. Why you see so many blown saves, people just hitting home runs because they're banking on certain things, and then the other thing happens. Dirty Red 22 says, when people say cutting off the cage, come out of defensive sliding stance and just rush the opponent full bore is how I feel. When people say come out of defensive sliding stance, yeah. I mean, don't we wish that happened? Because that round 3 was fucking terrible, man. I no offense to either fighter. I mean, it wasn't terrible for Kattar. It was just terrible because I knew what that round 3 could have been because of the caliber both those fighters are. And the round that it turned out to be was kind of sour. And I don't even like the fight anymore now that I think of it. So, yeah, I do know it's risky, but damn it, bum rush. Yeah, right? I mean, there was so many chances that he could have taken to, change the course of that fight and maybe make it a 10-8. If he drops him once or twice in that round, completely changes the course of that fight. Lazy said, shocked you went live now in competition with BKFC Italy press conference. I kid. Yeah. BKFC Italy press conference. They're in Italy? Who's the headliner? What do they have? What's that guy that always used to headline in Bellator? Oh, what was that guy's name? He's the Italian guy that always headlined in Bellator. We were like, why is he a headliner all the time? He's not even. I can't remember. If anyone remembers, throw it in the chat. But Dirty Red 22 says Zalal better hope Alien Giga will kick his legs off doing what he did last night. Yeah, well, he's got some good leg kicks and some good checks himself. So I mean, that fight would definitely play off completely on the feet until Zalal realizes that Giga's a really good kickboxer. And then he'd probably shoot a little bit, probably get a takedown or two. I'd probably see a split decision in that fight if it's a 3-rounder. 5-round fight, I'd probably give it to Zalal because we've seen Giga gas plenty of times. Lazy says they don't do Font no favors with his replacement opponent. Gave him 16-0 undefeated youngster. Yeah, didn't they? Wasn't it Gene Matsumoto? Is it? I believe. Yeah, that's a tough one. I can't believe they're gonna. I mean, mm. I mean, I feel like all these teams that have been on a crazy run that we were like, yo, they're really good. They're all falling right now. Have you guys realized that? City Kickboxing, New England Cartel, shit, even Extreme Couture. We just seen a massive L weekend for Extreme Couture. Tatiana Suarez and Sean Strickland lost. So yeah. No, I keep missing the click. This is crazy. No idea. Alessio Di Chirico. I saw Connor's little suit. No, it wasn't Alessio Di Chirico. I think it was like Alessio. Is it Alessio Sakara? Who is it? Alessio Sakara Bellator or something like that? Alessio. Is it Alessio Sakara? Yeah, I think it was Alessio Sakara. Yeah, it was Alessio Sakara. Alessio Sakara is who I'm thinking of. He fought in the UFC previously, but when he was in Bellator, they kept giving these headliners against Carvalho, and I was just like, what? This guy? But he's also in bare knuckle. He fought in Game Bred Bare Knuckle MMA 8. For those that don't know, so yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Alessio Sakara. But he fought big time UFC vet. Big time. He lost in the UFC event, but a lot. But he beat Dallas Leches. He beat James Irvin. He beat Elvis Sinisic. Pretty nice wins. He lost to Dean Lister, Houston Alexander, Chris Lieben, Chris Weidman, Brian Stan, Patrick Cote, anybody that was anybody. But, he beat a few guys. He beat Joey Beltran in Bellator. In Florence, Italy. I believe he headlined that one as well. Brian Rogers, I believe he headlined that one as well. Bellator 152. Oh, no, he was the co-main at Bellator 152. But yeah, my point was Alessio Sakara. Yeah, Alessio Sakara. Lazy says, that might be it. That might be it. All right, moving on. To topic number 3, which is my fighter spotlight of the week, baby. And to some surprise or not, it's Nazim Sadykhov. Nazim the Black Wolf Sadykhov trains at a Serra-Longo fight team. Honestly, he's been training there since around 2015. Since 2015. At a Long Island, New York, baby. Long Island, New York. I'm going to say this. They're the best team out of Long Island. And I say this out of somebody that trains out of a different gym on Long Island. Okay? But the facts are the facts are the facts. They got a lot of belts over there. They got a lot of belts over, UFC belts too. But yeah, he's 30 years old, born May 16th, 1994, 5'10" lightweight, 69-inch reach. He's 10-1-1 now, 7 KOs, 2 subs. Now, this southpaw is a freestyle fighter, and he's been on a tear since the start. All right. Trains with guys like Matt Serra, Ray Longo, Merab Davalishvili, Aljamain Sterling, Ali Quinta, and the great middleweight Chris Weidman. A lot of great fighters have shaped this guy into a savage. Think of Matt Favola. Think of Dennis Bazooka. Just think about the savages this guy trains with on a daily basis. Now, he started his MMA journey because Sadykhov was one of those local talents who found his way to MMA because of his dad's suggestion. Okay? So he kind of wanted to go the traditional martial arts route. This is his quote. My father is a traditional man, so he put me in the sport initially to be able to defend myself. to grow up being able to defend myself and my family. It's just like an honor code. And I competed from the age of 6. I was already in karate tournaments, sambo tournaments, judo tournaments, and pretty much my entire youth, I was competing in parallel with school. But everything in school did not bring me the type of feeling that fighting brought me. And guess what? He ended up winning the WKA US Nationals in kickboxing. All right, so this is already laying a great foundation for him. He's been training young age, all the martial arts, all respects, grappling, kickboxing, wrestling. He's doing everything. If you didn't know, he's of Azerbaijan descent, okay? But he was born in Russia, okay? He calls Brooklyn his home. It is no longer his home. I'll get into that. As a Brooklynite, making the trip on Belt Parkway to Long Island on a daily basis for training kind of sucked. If you live on Long Island, you know the Belt Parkway sucks no matter what time it is. It's going to take you 45 minutes at least to get from A to B. So it's not great. Not great. He's going from Brooklyn all the way out east to Suffolk County. Now, in 2015, he began training with Merab, right? UFC bantamweight champ Merab. Also trained with UFC former bantamweight champ Aljamain Sterling. Yeah, recent champs too. So you know the kind of training that he's been getting. So it was long days. He was commuting all the way from Brooklyn every day for training. So the commute would be longer than his actual training sessions, which, as you can believe, would suck. That's like LA training, I imagine. It's not great. But in 2020, he finally made the move out to Long Island. He finally made the move. It was probably a good time to do so. Pandemic hit. Training was stalling. He needed to be closer to his training partners. Not a lot of gyms were freely opening up. So the commute would definitely bring up some red flags. So that definitely was a good idea around there. He turned pro in 2018. He lost his debut, then reeled off 3 wins before injuries. And then COVID kept him on the couch for quite some time, over a year. But he stayed the course. He says, I got my few fights in a row. I was able to impress on the regional scene in Fury FC. I got my shot for the Contender Series, and thankfully, I was able to showcase myself ever since. I've had a few good performances back to back. Let's talk about these good performances. Now, he returned in October in 2021, right? Got 3 finishes, went to the Contender Series. Let's go over his record, right? Now, that loss that we were talking about, he lost to Juan Galarza by submission, the only submission loss of his career by rear naked choke. And that was Ring of Combat 66. Comes back at Ring of Combat 88 against William Dill, knocks him out with a punch in round 1, 58 seconds. Okay? Then goes on to Cage Fury Fighting Championships. Cage Fury Fighting Championships 77. Gets a Trent Stump TKO. Punches. Round 1, 4 minutes and 43 seconds. Comes back to Cage Fury Fighting Championships 81. Gets a unanimous decision win over Elijah Harris. Then goes to Fury Fighting Championship 52. Beats John Herrera, submission, rear naked choke. Beats Juan Carlos de Leon by TKO, round 3 in Fury Fighting Championships 55. This is in December of 2021. Then beats Joe Berinchyk, TKO, round 1, 55 seconds, Fury Fighting Championships 59. Does all this and finally gets his break in the Contender Series. All right. Takes on Ahmad Hassanazada. Hassanzada. I butchered that one. Who cares? All right. He beat him. He knocked him out. Round 3, 1 minute and 59 seconds. As we know, got his big break. And from there, history was written because Dana White gave him his contract to fight in the UFC. And since then, this man is impressed in every single fight. Doctor stoppage of Evan Elder, round 3, UFC Fight Night, Andrade versus Blanchfield. That was February 18th of 2023, his debut in the UFC. Gets a huge doctor stoppage win. That's when I knew he was going to be really good. I was telling everybody about this guy since then. Then takes on Terrence McKinney in the phase of Terrence McKinney's career where he was alternating wins and losses. He was getting a nice finish. Then he'd get a bad loss finish. So then July 15th, 2 days before my mom's birthday. 2023, Terrence McKinney loses by submission to Nazim Sadykhov. Round 2, 1 minute and 7 seconds. That was UFC Fight Night, home versus Bueno Silva. Then draws Vladislav Borishev, November 11th, 2023. That was at UFC 295, Proashka versus Pereira. That was the first fight between them. And then, fast forward to this weekend, guys. Fast forward to this weekend. Coming in basically a plus 210 dog against a streaking Brazilian, Ishmael Bon fucking Fim. Okay? And guess what? Another doctor stoppage. You got to look at this man's hands because he's got some fucking bombs. Okay? That's 2 doctor stoppages with these bombs that he got. I mean, this one, to be fair, was by his foot. He had a nice little question mark kick. It didn't look like a question mark kick, but basically qualifies as a question mark kick. Right on Ishmael Bonfim's face. I don't know if he broke his nose, but he definitely cut him. Hurt his eye. Ishmael Bonfim was unable to continue. The doctor had to stop it. Now, Ishmael Bonfim running around crying, doing like a little kid, all upset that he lost. But hey, Nazim hit you with that kick and all those punches for that to happen. And the consequential punches afterwards to make you blink that eye out and be like, at the end of the round. And then when the round ended, the doctors look at you and then you're still blinking. You say you can't see. Guess what? The fight's going to end because my boy put these hands on you. He put these bombs on you. Okay? Nazim Sadykhov is here at lightweight and he's here to stay. He's making statement wins. He's 10-1-1. Undefeated in the UFC. We got to put some respect on my guy's name. So shout out to Nazim Sadykhov. He is my fighter spotlight of the week. Can't wait to see what he does in the UFC. The money will always be going on Nazim. And that's how we do it. Let's see these comments. Chris Camozzi versus Lorenzo Hunt. That's why they're there. Ignore me. Chris Camozzi's taking on Lorenzo Hunt. That's an easy win for Lorenzo Hunt. Okay, Tanner says, we really got to ask about the fighter that fucked me over the second most. Just jokes. Nazim deserves that delay. He does, man. He does. He absolutely deserves it. Fight to start the second round, never again. That's why I usually stay away from those bets. Those bets, unless it's like, no offense, it's a girl fight, I'm pretty much staying away from those types of bets. That debut was also fight of the night. Indeed, it was. That debut was also fight of the night. That draw was fight of the night as well. Yeah. Main card minute in the house. Let's go. What's good, Luke? Welcome. Lazy Bed says Nas straight up Vitor Belfort Bonfim into a Bisping. And essentially, yeah. The Bonfim parlay did not cash, and I'm glad I didn't put it in. I told you guys before the weekend even started, I was like, yo, I don't think both Bonfims are winning. I don't think that Bonfim parlay is going to cash. And it didn't, because Nazim Sadykhov put these fucking bombs on him. Bong Island in the house. Chris Weidman voice. Bong Island. Let's move on to the next topic, which is UFC Fight Night 251 results. Let's just go over the card real quick. Edmund Shabazian defeats Dylan Budka TKO round 1, 1 minute and 34 seconds. I told you, motherfuckers. I told you my boy Edmund was going to put these hands on him. Dylan Budka, you thought I was going to somehow put my money on a 7-4 fighter. Are you fucking joking? Are you kidding me? Edmund Shabazian all day. Also, Eric Nixick quoted last freaking week that he wants to train fighters that want to be champions and marches out Edmund Shabazian, a first-round knockout killer. What did you think I was going to bet? Are you joking? Oh, tune into this week's wins to see what I bet on that. We already went over Nazim Sadykhov taking out Ishmael Bonfim. Andre Petrosky defeats Rodolfo Vieira, unanimous decision, 29-28 across the board. You're welcome. You're welcome again. Gave the chat that pick. Cash it again. I didn't think it was going to cash. I thought Vieira had it in the bag. I also had Vieira decision, so I was going to make actually the same amount of money regardless of who won that fight. But I had Petrosky in a couple parlays. Yes, I did. More to come on this week's wins. On the prelims, we had Jose Delgado defeating Connor Matthews KO punches, round 1, 2 minutes and 58 seconds. Also gave you guys Delgado, easy win. I'm glad we didn't have to sweat that one. At women's strawweight, Angela Hill defeats Caitlin Souza, split decision, 29-28, 28-29, 29-28. Thank you, Angie. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate everything you've done in your UFC career, in your Invicta career. You've been a pioneer, and nobody I wouldn't say nobody, but people should recognize you as such, and I feel like they don't. But you deserve all the respect in the world. That was a gutsy performance, turning back another youngster at the big old age of 40 as well. The 40-year-old parlay cashed. Shout out to the main card minute. But yeah, Angela Hill, big win, huge win. I'm glad it cashed. It was a little sweaty. I was sweating that whole fight. Me and Luke watched it together because we opened up the main card minute stream with that fight. But yeah, glad to see that Angie won. Glad to see her won. At flyweight, Rafael Estevam defeats Jesus Santos Aguiar. Unanimous decision, 29-28 across the board. That fight was fun to watch. Lots of exchanges, lots of sweeps. If you want to go watch a fun little fight at flyweight, go watch it. Flyweight unders have not cashed in quite some time. It's been a sad, sad prop these past couple of years. At welterweight, Gabriel Bonfim defeats Chaos Williams. If you want to see a submission that is kind of scary looking, go watch that. He put Chaos to sleep, and Chaos's eyes were rolling to the back of his head. That thing looked crazy. It was a Bravo choke. Round 2, 4 minutes and 58 seconds. Sad to see Chaos go out like that. He was a great striker at one point. His Achilles heel seems to be grappling, and people are going to game plan him as such from here on out. I hope he can put his hands on some chins because he's a fun fighter, but he had to take the L here. At bantamweight, Elijah Smith defeats Vince Morales. Unanimous decision, 29-28 across the board. That was a fun-ass fight to watch. That should have been fight of the night. Was it? It wasn't. They gave it to Cannonier Rodrigues, and performance of the night went to Shabazian and Gabriel Bonfim. But that was a really fun fight as well. I wouldn't be surprised if Dana White didn't give a little cash to some of these guys, Elijah Smith and Vince Morales. That was a fun-ass fight to watch. Walter Walker gets a nice submission win over Dontel Mays. Heel hook, 1 minute and 17 seconds into round 1. There's a nice clip on the internet of the Walkers having a nice little fun time at the club afterwards, celebrating their win. Go check that out. The boys were tearing it up. Glad to see it. That was a heavyweight, obviously. And at women's bantamweight, Jacqueline Cavalcanti defeats Julia Avila. Unanimous decision, 30-27 across the board. I expected Cavalcanti to get the TKO here. She did not. Looked great doing so. She should get a great opponent after this. And that completes my coverage of UFC Fight Night 251 from Las Vegas. Tanner says, shout out to Luke. He called out Delgado quick stoppage too, and I was not hip to it. Neither was I. I had Delgado in a couple parlays, and I actually missed that fight. I didn't take any props on that fight. No singles, no nothing. He was only in parlays. So I dropped the ball on that. I think I was, having too much fun ripping the B. You already know. Lazy Bed says, been trying to find bloody pick for Morales for a thumbnail all morning. Yeah. Lots of blood in that fight, huh? Lots of blood. Also, he had that red hair, didn't he? Or was the blood, or was the hair from the blood? I don't know. Was it the chicken or the egg? I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. We're done with MMA here. I was going to go over one, but it was kickboxing. It's mainly kickboxing. It wasn't too much crazy stuff going on. It's kickboxing and Muay Thai. I decided to stay away. So I did not cover the Valentine's Day Friday night fights. If you need to know, Fairtex won, Menshikov won, Komchech Fairtex won, Boomjatai won, Group 1, Power 1, Vera won, Sorsamai won. All three Fairtexes won, except for Tenguang. Tamioka Yusei won, and Jason Miralpes won. So that's it. If you wanted one, there you go. There it is. But we're moving on to boxing. Keyshawn Davis and Dennis Berinchyk had themselves a nice little fight. Guess what? Your boy Keyshawn Davis comes out on top yet again. Baby. He becomes a world champion on Friday. He knocks out Dennis Berinchyk to become the WBO lightweight title holder. This was at MSG, the theater at MSG, not the big one. But in a dominant performance, Davis dropped Berinchyk twice and ended the fight with a body shot. Nice little left hook, crumpled him, sent him to the mat. Had his nice little glove touching the mat. Had the referee giving him fingers up to the face. It was nice to see. And it was round 4. Got us out of there early. Berinchyk was grimacing in pain. Didn't beat the count. Knockout came at 1 minute and 45 seconds. Keyshawn Davis, huge win. Biggest win of his career. Can't wait to see who he calls out next. Obviously, he's going to be looking at Tank and the Tank and Lamont Roach fight. He's going to be looking at that fight. He's already called out Tank once. I don't know what he has to do from here, but he's now 13-0, and Berinchyk is 19-1, unfortunately. So, yeah. Other fights on the card. Xander Zayas wins via TKO in round 9. Okay, he takes out Slava Spammer. I thought it was Spawner. Oh, if I know Jake wants to know, Jake, this one's for you. Vito Milnecki goes to a majority draw decision with Connor Coyle. Unfortunately, Vito Milnecki now goes to 21-1. Connor Coyle goes to 21-0-1. Unfortunately, this fight may happen again in the future. It was an interesting fight. Definitely good things on both sides. Some say Vito Milnecki won. I'm indifferent. Lower on the card, Juanita Lopez de Jesus defeats Brian Santiago by KO in round 1. Abdullah Mason KOs Manuel James in round 4. Rohan Polanco knocks out Jean Carlos Torres in round 2. Keon Davis, brother of Keyshawn Davis, gets another TKO win. The brothers got TKOs on Friday night. He TKOs Ira Johnson round 2. Jared Anderson gets a nice win, unanimous decision over Marios Colias. And Nico Ali Walsh loses a split decision to Juan Carlos Guerra. Unfortunately, Nico Ali Walsh falls to 10-2. Juan Carlos Guerra Jr. goes to 6-1-1. And that completes my coverage of Dennis Berinchyk going against Keyshawn Davis. Baby. Lazy laughing. Tanner goes, man, that under for heavies was so juicy. Yeah, I should have took that. The Ukrainian needs a smoothie diet after those body shots. Might I recommend bananas and watermelon? Fuck that, dude. You probably had to go into decision or a late round TKO, like most of us had. I didn't think Keyshawn would get him out that early either. That was crazy to me. Didn't see that happening. Lazy says, Abdullah Mason, Cleveland, let's go. Cleveland, stand up. One of the most surprising cities I've ever visited in my life, because I thought I was going to hate Cleveland when I went, and I absolutely loved it. Cleveland was a fantastic city. The food was fun. The service wasn't great. People know, Manish can tell that story. Service wasn't great, but the food was absolutely fantastic. The casino there was fun. I won money there. Ran into Sean O'Malley there. So Cleveland was a great time for me. Tanner says, Berinchyk versus Davis, either fighter to get knocked down once was plus 100. I couldn't believe it. Nice cash. I'm glad you cashed pretty easily on that. All right. Let me get a sip of water before we get into this other boxing card. All right. Topic number 6. Jack Catterall loses a decision to Arnold Barboza Jr. Now, it was a tense split decision in Manchester, England. It was. This was on Saturday. It was for the WBO junior lightweight title eliminator. Okay, so it wasn't for the title, but it was for who's going to fight for the title next. And Barboza, 32-0, 11 KOs, snatches the victory. 2 judges score at 115, 113 in his favor. 1 giving it 115, 113 for Catterall. 30-2, 13 KOs. Unfortunately, Catterall loses. Everybody had Catterall in this fight. Even though Barboza was a really good opponent, undefeated, he remains undefeated and wins. And Barboza is now the mandatory challenger to fight Teofimo Lopez Jr. He's the next challenger for Teofimo. So we will see that fight next. Unfortunately for Jack Catterall, the big fight slips through his hands. I don't know what's next for him, but a big fight next for Barboza. Excited for that. Elsewhere on the card, Reese Bellotti TKOs Michael Gomez Jr. 1 second left in round 10. Pat McCormick retires Robbie Davis in round 6. And Jazza Dickens gets a unanimous decision over Zelfa Barrett 96-94, 97-93, 97-93. That completes my coverage of Jack Catterall versus Arnold Barboza Jr. Otherwise, in boxing, baby, we got some other fights coming up. In boxing. February 22nd, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, on DAZN pay-per-view. We got Artur Beterbiev taking on Dimitri Bivol. 12 rounds for Beterbiev's undisputed light heavyweight championship. March 1st, I will be there in New York. PBC pay-per-view on Prime Video. Gervonta Davis versus Lamont Roach Jr. 12 rounds for Davis's WBA lightweight title. March 29th in Las Vegas on ESPN and ESPN Plus. There's a title fight. Our girl Michaela Mayer taking on Sandy Ryan. 10 rounds for Mayer's WBO welterweight title. March 29th in Cancun, Mexico. On DAZN. William Zepeda is taking on Tevin Farmer. 12 rounds for Zepeda's WBC interim lightweight title. And on April 5th in Las Vegas on ESPN Plus, Richard the Mustache Torres Jr. is taking on Guido Vianello. 10 rounds at heavyweight. 10 rounds. And those are the upcoming boxing fights. Other boxing notables coming up. Don't forget about that February 22nd fight. Beterbiev and Bivol, baby. It's going to be a good one. Bivol feels like he was robbed. Beterbiev thinks he's the champ. The winner gets to take on David Benavidez Jr. It's going to be a big one. It's going to be a big fight. Go watch that. Nice bets to be made there. Speaking of nice bets to be made, let's get to my favorite segment of the week, baby. Yes, sir. This week's wins. What? This week's wins. This week's wins. Yeah, this week's wins. We got a fucking fat one for you this week, y'all. Fat as hell. Fat as all hell. If not the biggest this week's wins, top 3 for sure. Top 3 this week's wins for sure. Absolute sure. I should have put a star but obviously it's going to change over time, so it doesn't make sense to add a star to the top. You know what I mean. But all right, let's count it up, shall we? Let's count it up. Let's start off smooth. We start off the card, the main card minute, with the Angela Hill decision. And you know when I do it, I got to do it on both apps, right? Got to do it on both apps. Count it up. That's 100 each app. Angela Hill. So that's 200 just off Angela Hill, baby. Shout out to Angela Hill. Shout out to Angie. Shout out to Overkill. Shout out to the pioneer of the sport. Easy win. A little sweaty, but it was still an easy win. Thanks for the 200, Angie. Then we moved on. We took the over in the Rodolfo Vieira and Andre Petroski fight. I was sweating it a little, so I only threw a little bit on it. Bringing back a little 60 piece here. A little $60. So what? We're up to 260 now? 250, 260? That's not bad. Solid, right? Then we got a Petroski. I told you guys Petroski decision, right? Cash. I wish I put a little bit more on that, but that's another 100 right there. So we're up to 350 now. That's 350. Andre Petroski to win by decision. We're up to 350 on the night. We're feeling good. This is the point of the night where I'm like, yo, guys, we started off slow, but we're doing good. We lost on Cavalcanti. I had Cavalcanti TKO. We lost on Walker because I had May's decision. I lost on a Morales decision. Then I lost on Chaos Williams money line and Chaos Williams TKO and killed a couple parlays. But I had Estevam in a parlay, had Hill in a parlay, and we won on a single. Had Delgado in a parlay. And then we just went on Petrosky. So now we're up to our boy, our fighter spotlight of the week, right? Nazim Sadykhov. Had to put a little money on my boy. Had to do it. So nice little 25 bucks, bringing back damn near 150. So what? We were at 350? Were we? Because we had the Hill 200 plus the over 250 plus Petrosky decision. That's 350 plus this, right? So now we're at 500, essentially. We're at 500. We're up 500 on the night. We're doing great. We're doing absolutely great. Near 500 because we lost early on the night. We're up near 500. So now we're getting into the meat of the card. The point I'm making, the whole, everything was based on these two fights. Shabazian, Budka, Zalal, Kattar. Everything was based on the parlays that were decided on these two fights. And you know when the parlays decided on it, I got to go hard. I got to double up. So what I did was I did Shabazian KO, baby. Cash that. Bring back another 100. Now we're at 600. All right? Just off the Shabazian KO. But you know, I told you guys round one. I did. I told you guys round one. So I also had to do that. Another 150. So what are we at now? Yeah. Yeah, it's going up. It's going up. It's going up, isn't it? It's going up. Oh, man, it's going up. So I also have the Shabazian TKO round one. That's another 150. Bye. And then we move on to the Zalal fight. Zalal decision. Zalal decision. Yes, baby. Yes, yes, yes. That's another 250. Did a little 70 piece on both. Zalal to win by decision. That's another 250. Let's just count it up quickly so far. So that's 200. 250. 350. 500. 600. 750. We're at 1,000 now. We're at 1,000. This is not including the parlays. This is not including the parlays. So then I had to go with my boy Jared Cannonier. 40 years old, crystals, the Crystal King himself. Had to throw money on Jared Cannonier. That's another 300. We're at 1,300. We're at 1,300, baby. We're at 1,300 off the singles. We're at 1,300 off the singles. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Appreciate everybody that came through. But wait, there's more. I gave you guys a parlay, didn't I? I gave you guys a parlay, didn't I? I gave you guys the one more round parlay. And guess what? That bitch cashed. Let's go, baby. Yusuf Zalal, Edmund Shabazian, Jose Delgado, Rafael Estevam, plus 113. You know when I do it, I throw 100 on it. I throw a full unit. That's 400 coming back. We're at 1,700 now. That's 400 coming back. Damn near 450. Let's go 1,750. 1,750. We're at 1,750 now. And the one more round high risk parlay didn't cash. But you know when I had Dontel Mays in there, I had to re-up it. I had to throw one more in there. So then I just threw in my sure thing. I threw in Shabazian because I wasn't sure if Kattar was going to get the job done. So then I call this the re-up parlay. Okay? Because I threw in Shabazian, Sadykhov, Petrosky, and Hill, $10 plus 1956 plus 2139 to bring back 200 on both accounts. That's another 400. Okay? We are now at $2,200 off one card. $2,200 off one card. What a fucking this week's wins. What a fucking this week's wins, man. Oh, wait. I'm not done. I'm not done, motherfuckers. Because I hit the biggest parlay I've ever hit on an MMA card this weekend. I'm not done. Because I turned $5 into magic on both. Now, I told you guys the Shabazian round 1 TKO was going in a parlay of mine. And when I jumped on the main card minute, I told you guys about this. I told you guys my exact parlay that I put in. But I switched one thing on DraftKings. I didn't do round 1 on DraftKings. So this is what hit on DraftKings. $5 to turn back $221.83. This is the fattest hitting parlay. Not the most money, the fattest hitting parlay. Plus 43.36 on DK. Angela Hill to win by decision. Andre Petrosky to win by decision. Edmund Shabazian to win by KO. And Yusuf Zalal to win by decision. What a freaking fat win. But that's not the fattest. The fattest is what I did on FanDuel. Turning 5 into $500. I did the Angela Hill points, Petrosky points, Edmund Shabazian KO round 1, and Zalal points. $5 into $496.33 plus 9,826. The biggest MMA parlay I've ever hit, and quite possibly the biggest this week's wins we've ever hit. So if it was 2,200 after the high risk parlay, then it's 2,500. We had a $3,000 weekend. We had a $3,000 this week's wins. Shout out to all the fighters that made us money this weekend. Shout out to Angela Hill. Shout out to Andre Petrosky. Shout out to Nazim Sadykhov. Shout out to Edmund Shabazian. Shout out to Yusuf Zalal. And shout out to Jared Cannonier. Love you guys. Big respect. Thank you for bringing the money home for another fucking epic this week's wins. Appreciate you guys. Hopefully we can have another week like this next week. Damn, let's get through these comments. 9:15 a.m. says, who you got? Time for the wins. You already know. Tanner says, clip that and make it an intro song for this segment. Petrosky by decision, so wild. I love it. I had to roll with him. Yo, them Philly boys looking good these days, you know? Joe Pyfer and them. You already know. Lazy says that's wild. Crushed it. I might have to start gambling more. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. Damn, dude, 4-leg parlay, but none of those fights even close to sweaty. Surprisingly so. Surprisingly. I didn't think it was going to be, that sweat-free, but it was tremendous. That's why I was so surprised on the main card minute when Luke said Petrosky. I was like, what? The parlay's alive? No fucking way. Dana Blanco says, you slay last night. Thank you, Dana. Thank you. I appreciate you. Lazy says, let me hold 5. I'll do you better. I'll give you a parlay just like that next week. I'm going to start a new another parlay leg that I'm going to put out. It'll probably be orange colored, but it'll be like I don't know what to call it yet, but it's going to be like the crazy parlay. It's going to be the crazy parlay. Tanner says plus 43.36. I'm dying. Plus 10,000. I'm dead. I know, right? A plus 10, and I threw 5 on it. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. If it hits, it hits, and it fucking hit. And the craziest part is, I had that part, the same parlay, but with Dontel Mays points added to it, and it would have been $5,000 if that hit. $5 into 5,000. I took the Mays piece off, obviously, after he lost, and then it turned into 500. But yeah, still worked out. Tanner goes, we're about to lose our ass tailing Gav next week. Just jokes though, Juju. No. I'm keeping it smart. As you can see, I went with big faves this week, guys, that I really thought could get it done. I'm gonna try to keep this formula so we keep the wins coming, man. I'm trying to quit everything, just make $2,000 a week off MMA betting. I'm trying to quit my job, do all that. I'm glad the seeds are being planted and it's starting. So You know, and I was betting modest, as you can see. I wasn't betting $150. I wasn't betting $200. I was betting 25 pieces, 50 pieces. 70 was the most, I think, and the $100 parlay, which I always do. So it was, you know, it was simple bets that turned back a lot this weekend. We just got lucky and we were smart, and you know, it worked out. It worked out. Speaking of wins, let's talk about my picks for UFC Fight Night Seattle. UFC, now don't take these at face value yet, because they can change. You wait for the graphics I put out on social media, you know, but I'm feeling Song Yadong. Even though Cejudo's the dog, I will have money on Cejudo, but I'm feeling Song Yadong. I'm feeling him to get a big win. Young legs. Cejudo hasn't really put up a performance that makes me think, oh, he's going to make another title run. So I'm feeling Song Yadong. Now, you already know I'm going with Fluffy. You already know I'm going with Fluffy. There's no way I'm going with Brendan Allen. After the performance I've seen out of Brendan Allen and the performances I've seen out of Anthony Fluffy Hernandez, yeah, we're going Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. Fighting nerds. Now, Bruna Silva did what she normally does, or Bruna Brazil, sorry, does what she normally does, kicks off the Fighting Nerds year with a loss. That lights that fire under him. They ain't going to lose this year. Gene Silva's winning this fight. Gene Silva for the win. And I don't think anybody from Fighting Nerds is going to lose for the rest of this year. Kyle Barajo included. Mauricio Ruffy included. All of them. Carlos Prachas included. And then I like Ezekiel Costa and Ricky Simone. I like Ricky Simone against Javid Basharat. I like his wrestling game. I like what he can do. I like his pace. It all matters if he can get inside on Javid, and what Javid's sweep game looks like. But I have pretty good faith that Ricky Simone can do well. Maybe Modestas Spakauskas. He usually surprises. He's a big surpriser. You know, he likes to surprise us, and he's what, won 5 out of his last 6. He's only lost to Vito Petrino with a punch, who's a heavy hitter, and you know, fighter's chance with that punch. But he's beaten everybody else: Tyson Pedro, Zach Pauga, Marcin Prachnio. Who says he can't beat Rafael Cerqueira? So I kind of like that. But those are my picks as of now. We'll see what happens come Saturday. I may give a different graphic for you guys after the full in-depth balls deep research happens. Shit might change. Who knows? Shit might change. You know, feeling that young down. Pause. Pause. Dana Blanco says, "Are you getting a Fight Night poster to commemorate this epic, damn near perfect event?" Low-key, I might have to. Low-key, I might have. Let me add that to my list. Hey Siri, add Cannonier versus Rodrigues poster to reminders list. That might have to be what I do.
Okay, I've added Kenta versus Rodrigues as poster to the list.
I might have to do posters on the wall. If a poster, like we've done a major event, I could put it under the TV over there. You know, I could put it on the wall next to the TV over. God damn it. There, over there. You know, I got a little space. I got this little wall right here. I could put something on the closet. You know, you might be right. I might have to do something with that. I might do that. That's a great idea. Thank you. I appreciate that, Dana. Appreciate that. But that does it for my show today, y'all. I'm out of here. I got you. Surprisingly, it's only an hour show. I'm actually pretty quick with it. Surprisingly. Didn't see that coming. But yeah, enjoy the fights this weekend. I will be doing. Wait, will I? Let's see who the fighters on the card are. Oh, we have Cejudo Song. Yeah, I'll be doing a UFCP units this week. I will be doing it for sure. Let's see how many fights we're possibly gonna have. We're definitely gonna have Cejudo Song. We're gonna have Fluffy versus Allen. Looks like a 2-fight card. Looks like a 2-fighter. All right, it's gonna be 2-fighter, co-main and main. So it's gonna be short in probably an hour and a half. But if we don't get finishes, but yeah, 2-fight CP units this week. See you guys Friday. We'll be talking the fights more. I'll be going in depth about my picks. Don't worry. Lazy, good stream. Thank you. Appreciate you, Tanner. Thanks for coming through. Fun time. See you fellas next time. Yeah, so I'll see you guys Friday. I'll have some more picks for you then. Shout out to our sponsors. Yo, sponsors. Yo, hit me up. Inbox quiet. Inbox silent out here. What's up? But hit me up, yo. What's good? If you got wins, send them to the email. One more on fights@gmail.com. I want to show you all. I want to show you. Only do it after Saturday nights, though. Because if I show it next week, it's like, oh, that's old news. You know? It's old news. Follow on social, scan the QR code below. Main card minute on the left. One more round fights on the right. You already know. Let's try to get me to 200 subs. I'm trying to get to 250 so we can get those stickers and shit. I want to have that. Yo, start showing me some love. Get those subs up. Get your burner accounts going. I don't care. And follow on social. One more round fights everywhere except for X, which is one more round F8. And you already know. Thanks for coming through, guys. I'll see you guys Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Thanks for spending the weekends with me. I enjoy this, and I enjoy making us money. Let's do it again next week. And without further ado, I'm out this bitch. Peace out.